Side of it, and it's
Welcome back to Studio 21.
this week we've got the Super Bowl scoop for you.
Plus, our take on the most controversial Oscar nominee of the year.
And so much more, right here on Studio 21. Hello and welcome to another episode of Gossip Guru. I'm Anna.
Me.
Nate, Nathaniel Hawthorne wasn't from Austin. Besides, don't you mean Matthew McConaughey? His Super Bowl commercial was Uber Eats, was released earlier this week.
I guess that's who I mean. McConaughey's Uber Eats commercial was a regular who's who of old people that used to be famous, like Martha Stewart, Kevin Bacon. Bacon! Yum! Where?
Charlie XCX, acclaimed director Greta Gerwig, and Hot One Sean Evans also appeared. The whole commercial was about McConaughey's conspiracy that football was just invented to make people hungry and then buy food.
I, for one, completely believe it. McConaughey's goes back in time to 1876, to when football began being played, and he pointed out something truly frightening. Footballs are literally called pigskins. They make you want bacon.
I think that you might have just been hungry before you got there. I watch football all the time and it doesn't make me want bacon at all. McConaughey goes on to argue that the Buffalo Bills only have their name to sell buffalo wings, and that the Caesars Superdome for the Super Bowl is being played in was named after the salad and not the Roman emperor.
The Roman what? This all makes a lot of sense to me. And at the end of the commercial, McConaughey tries to convince Greta Gerwig to make a movie about this obviously true phenomenon. But like my mom, when I ask her to overnight mail me bacon, she says that he is being ridiculous and refuses.
In the era of insanely expensive commercial spots for major sporting events, this star-studded commercial makes a lot of money for Uber Eats and the actors themselves, but it's not incredibly artistic or inspired. It kind of makes you wonder if there's any point to all of this fanfare.
I think the point is, I'm hungry. Bacon? Anyone?
For the last time, we are not Uber eating IHOP here. Besides, there are still way bigger things to discuss than Super Bowl just being for food.
Oh, come on, Anna. You know football's not really my thing.
Why would I be talking about football? Hello, the halftime show.
Oh, of course. There's so much to unpack there. The guest stars, the symbolism, the beef.
First of all, Uncle Samuel Jackson. So much of the show was set up under a theme of patriotism, but I'm not sure if everyone got the real message behind some of it.
Kendrick definitely had some powerful hidden messages in there about racism and division in our country. But some people online have taken the performance at face value, assuming that his performance was free of any deeper meaning.
I have some really strange takes on it, including some people shaming Serena Williams for crip walking. Remember how much bad press she got for celebrating with that same dance at Wimbledon?
That's right. Plus, the added sting of her being Drake's ex-girlfriend really tied the whole diss track turned empowering thing all together.
And let's not forget SCA's all-star performance, who is another one of Drake's exes. I'd expect a lot more lawsuits coming Kendrick's way after this. At this point, Drake's only hope for revenge is the ever-reliable U.S. legal system.
All in all, there was just so much to unpack with the halftime show this year. I just have to recommend that you see it for yourself. That's all we have for you this week. I'm Nate.
And I'm Anna. Up next, check out our music video of the week, I Thought You Knew by Freeze Machine.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Release Date. I'm Zane.
And I'm Carrie.
First up, the first officially authorized documentary by a legendary band, Becoming Led Zeppelin.
Becoming Led Zeppelin released this past weekend exclusively in IMAX theaters. The film, directed by Bernard McMahon, stars the three surviving band members, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones, with an old archived interview with deceased member John Bonham representing him. The film weaves original interviews from the surviving members with the archived Bonham interview, as well as various concert footage to show the band members' humble beginnings to their achievement of superstardom.
Led Zeppelin was a band that I was only vaguely familiar with until recently when I listened to their entire discography, in part in preparation for this movie, but also so I could have the conversation about them my dad's been trying to have with me for 21 years. Having the requisite familiarity of listening to all of their music, I can confidently say this movie's pretty okay. To start with, some of the criticisms that this movie has. It's about 2 hours long. However, there was an over 3-hour version that premiered at Venice Film Festival about 4 years ago. There were several times during the movie where I thought that I was watching the 3-hour-long version, particularly during the first third of the film. That's not to say the content of the movie is bad, just that it felt much, much longer than it was. I also have some issues with the editing. Sometimes it's pretty stellar, and a lot of the time it's not. During the concert footage sequences, you get the standard rock concert film 10 cuts per second, which never gets less headache-inducing, as well as either looping the same clip or using the same clips over and over, separated by other clips to make you think that it's not the same one you just saw in the shot prior. As far as the actual visuals go, I'm not convinced you need to have a pan or dolly shot in every talking head interview with the band. It's a documentary, you can just keep the camera still. I also don't like a lot of the shots of the audience during the performances, since it's pretty clear that it's new footage just made to look like it was people that were there. This movie also doesn't have much of an ending. Spoilers for real life, but it ends with the band releasing their second album, aptly titled Led Zeppelin II, and then cuts to Jimmy Page telling you to follow your dreams and credits roll. It's very anticlimactic and left me wondering what the point of the film really was. As far as what's good in the movie, they happen to pick some tremendously charismatic and compelling subjects because Plant, Page, and Jones are exceptionally engaging speakers. The old, never-before-heard Bonham interview is also great and ties in shockingly well with what the living members have to say. I just wish they'd included more of the personal and introspective moments the band members have, rather than an over-glorified reading of a Wikipedia article, which is how a lot of the interviews feel. But perhaps the best part of the film, and the reason to see it, is the music. Hearing those songs on IMAX speakers is an incredible experience and worth the price of admission just for that. Check it out if you're interested in the band. It's a deeply flawed but ultimately still very entertaining experience.
Our next film is the most nominated film in this year's Oscars, Emilia Perez.
Emilia Perez, directed by Jacques Audiard, stars Carla Sofia Gascon, Selena Gomez, and Zoe Saldana, and it released on Netflix this past year. It follows a struggling lawyer named Rita, who is offered an unusual job by a Mexican cartel boss, Manitas, to retire and transition into a woman, fulfilling a long-lived desire. In order to do this, he fakes his death, gets gender-reaffirming surgery, and takes a new name, Emilia Perez. This film is also a musical, featuring many songs that talk about the fragility of Mexico's social structures.
This movie is definitely something. When I watched the Golden Globes earlier this year, I was very intrigued by the movie as it seemed very avant-garde and something notable enough for it to win 4 Golden Globes. So I watched the movie the next day, and to be honest, I thought the film was just a hot mess. First of all, this movie should have never been a musical, as it does not fit with the tone of the story at all. This movie is supposed to be critiquing a very serious issue that happens in Mexico, and the playfulness of the songs make it seem like a parody. Like, seriously, one of the songs in the film is about finding a doctor for gender reaffirming care, and it sounds straight from Saturday Night Live. It's that bad. Like Joker 2, I think this movie would have excelled a lot better if it was not a musical. However, I don't think cutting out the songs in the movie would save it as the story itself was just abysmal. While the movie tries to bring up Emilia Perez's fear of reconnecting with her family, it throws in these weird plot points of digging up graves, which makes absolutely no sense. And if that wasn't wild enough, it switches back to the romance between Emilia and her wife. The film does this about 3 more times more, and it is just so hard to follow along. While I was watching the movie, I had to write down the major plot points of the movie down because they just decided to throw all of them in there and call it a day. Lastly, the ending was just awful, as it just ended in the most anticlimactic way possible and depicts Emilia Perez as a hero. Like, did we forget that Emilia Perez was originally a dangerous cartel leader? I don't know. The only thing I liked about the movie was the cinematography, especially how slow it was. I liked the way it captured Emilia's eternal conflict, and I thought it was also a nice add to her character. I also really enjoyed Zoe Saldana's performance as Rita. I thought she did an amazing job portraying her character, and I was really impressed by her singing and dancing, and to be fair, she carried that movie. Overall, if you want to watch this movie, go ahead, but prepare for a hot mess, but not in a good way. I do not recommend watching this movie, nor is it entertaining or has a good story. It's just hot garbage water. I don't know what the critics see in it in order to give it 13 Oscar nominations, but I guess everybody has their preferences.
Speaking of preferences, I am aware that this week is a holiday that I prefer not to acknowledge. Capitalism is no show of love, if you ask me.
Always such a Debbie Downer, Zane. For those of you who don't hate joy and are looking for a capitalist-free way to celebrate the season, here's a fun tutorial on a DIY Valentine.
And stick around after that for your weekly dose of pop culture trivia with a little bit of friendly competition. Check it out.
If you're not willing to accept, I don't think it's worth talking.
Just cut to the chase.
To listen is to accept.
Welcome back to Studio 21.
And a little bit of friendly competition.
What have you got for us today, release date?
Okay, this
'em with
one
it.
is a little bit of a trick question, but
good God.
here it is. What insanely popular website debuted on Valentine's Day in 2005?
Don't feel bad, I wouldn't have gotten this either.
Honestly, same. I would have probably just guessed it.
Should I just like name something random and pretend like I know it?
Yeah.
You got this.
Okay, what is, I don't know, like MySpace? I don't know.
Sorry,
I
it's-
appreciate the Jeopardy phrasing though.
Yeah, me
Oh.
too. It's YouTube. Yeah, okay. It's y'all's turn.
Okay. What is the name of Kendrick Lamar's newest album?
I knew this.
Oh my god.
I would not have gotten this.
I literally listened to it today. This is so bad.
I'm not gonna get it. It's all on you.
I'm just gonna go with just like the most basic answer, and all of the Kendrick Lamar stands are going to be like seething at me, but I was just gonna be like, they not like us. I don't know. I actually don't know.
It is GNX.
Okay, I would have not. I
Right,
would have.
It's just 3 letters.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today, but tune in next week for more trivia, celebrity gossip, and our takes on new releases. We'll see you next week on
Studio 21. I would